The Suns beat the Lakers. They were up, felt like a million, like 30 at the half, whatever. They end up winning 113-100. First, let's listen to LeBron James after the game.
Challenge is different, and to be able to put myself where I can even have accomplishments, to either be broken or to be able to continue it. It's all through the grace of the man above, and me just trying to put in a lot of hard work in. My teammates having great coaching staffs, things of that nature. So, records are, if there's a record or if it's not, they're always meant to be broken. So, in that fashion, it doesn't matter to me as far as not making it out of the first round. What matters to me is getting this team back healthy. Me not being able to be at my full strength throughout this series, that's my main focus.
Okay, so LeBron, hey, we're not healthy. Hey, I'm not healthy. We lost. There doesn't appear to be any pouting. I think all of that is accurate. Okay? All of that is accurate. If you don't, it's okay. You can argue with it, but you're probably wrong on this account, right? And here's why. If they have Anthony Davis, it's a different series. They probably win the series. Case in point, they were winning the series when they had Anthony Davis before he got hurt. The Suns didn't like the matchup, nor should they. The Lakers were a bad matchup for them with their immense size and the relative diminutive front line of the Phoenix Suns. So with all of that being said, I think if we're reasonable, we go like, yeah, it looks bad. It looks bad. But the reality is, should it really? Right? LeBron wasn't healthy. Anthony Davis wasn't healthy at all. KCP wasn't himself. And they got beat by a good basketball team who, I don't know if you guys know this, 10 years ago, in the playoffs, in the first round, Chris Paul and Monty Williams with the Hornets lost 4-2 to the Lakers 10 years ago. So you have all the pent-up Jay Crowder frustrations. His time in Cleveland with LeBron wasn't a good one. You have the Chris Paul, I've always been hurt, and I was almost hurt in this one, frustrations. You have Devin Booker, who was a great scorer on a terrible team, now is a great scorer on a good team. So you have some, pent-up frustrations. But before the Anthony Davis injury, the Lakers were a +8. After the Anthony Davis injury, they were a -47. And even that's not really telling because the Suns could have run it up, could have made it worse. So even if we don't give LeBron a pass per se, but we're just honest about what actually happened, can we also point out that the LeBron double standard, if he wins and if he loses in comparison to somebody else, is just not right. Look, I don't have a bone to pick with LeBron James. I would prefer Jordan to be on my team. I think he was better. But if you want to tell me that you can come up with some statistical analysis, Nick Wright style, that proves to me unequivocally that LeBron James is the greatest player ever, okay. I would rather have Bird. I would rather have Magic. I would rather have Jordan. But that's my own personal preference. Like it's a lot like when you go to buy a soda, and I rarely do anymore. But occasionally, my kids, it's like you remember we drank, if you like me, grew up in the 80s, like a Coke with a lemon in it was like gold, right? And you only got one because this is before the free refills days. But so now for my kids, it's like ice cream. Like you get one sweet a day. You want to come? Okay. But that way people, Coke or Pepsi. I like Coke. Whoa, like this is what I like. You can tell me what you like, and that's what you like. I can tell you what I like, and that's what I like. Truth be told, I like Dr. Pepper a little bit better than Coke. If I had a choice, Dr. Pepper, Coke, or Pepsi, I would choose Dr. Pepper, then Coke, then Pepsi. Probably Sprite ahead of Pepsi. Cactus Cooler ahead of Sprite, and ahead. You get the idea. The idea is like, look, people just like what they like. And my basketball IQ tells me I'd rather have Jordan, but just my general overall senses was Jordan would be kind of tougher to live with, but different. LeBron's not easy, maybe a little bit easier than Jordan, but not perfectly easy because everything he does is passive aggressive. But if you want to be judged on that scale, especially in this day and age where everything you do say is micromanaged, is examined under the finest of microscopes as well. We're coming off a year where Lakers didn't just win in the bubble. We watched The Last Dance in the bubble. And one of our takeaways was Michael Jordan stuck around and shook hands even when the Pistons didn't want to shake his hands. The Pistons didn't shake hands, much like the Celtics who were banged up before them, but the Pistons actually left the floor while the clock was still running. And they have never been forgiven, nor should they, for it. I understand there's no rule that says you have to shake hands. I understand it got chippy at the end of the game because the Suns had it and they were talking trash. By the way, not exactly sure why Jay Crowder gets thrown out for fake salsa dancing for 5 seconds. But the rules for LeBron are in fact different because we're supposed to view him as different. If you're a better and more prominent player than anybody else, with that weight comes the weight of, hey, dude, you got to sit there. You got to sit there and shake hands. Well, they just kicked our ass for, okay, I know you're frustrated. You're not healthy. You're frustrated. You got to answer all the questions. It's not fun. Shake hands. And I don't, Tom Brady's not excused from it. Nobody's excused from it. But LeBron is a guy who is synonymous with the sport. He's the biggest name in the sport. It's devastating in the rankings that he's not in the playoffs, nor is Steph Curry currently. But with that comes the, hey, you got to handle yourself a little better. Even if after the game, here's where it's all for show. He signed a Devin Booker jersey after the game. Devin Booker came into the locker room, he had a signed jersey for him. It just shows everything that took place out on the floor was for show. Where the real stuff is, LeBron's really a good dude. Signs a jersey. I wouldn't sign a jersey for somebody who just gave me 47 and kicked my ass no matter how much of a relationship I have. No chance. Zero. Wait, hold on. You just beat us 4-2. You just dropped 47 in my house, and now you want my jersey? Huh? No, I don't want your jersey. What, to remember that by? No, thanks. No, thanks. The jersey swap thing, I don't get. If you're best friends since childhood, right? Maybe then you switch jerseys. After a regular season game, maybe. Or you just send it to the dude in the mail. But the series is over and there's bitter feelings and you're like, hey, here's a signed jersey for you. And again, LeBron, even knowing that Devin Booker would accept a signed jersey, shows how he believes he's viewed in the league. He's the one who on his show, The Shop, which, by the way, he sued people because he believes he invented barbershop conversation. He said he knew at that moment he was the greatest ever because no one had come back from 3-1. If you really believe you are the greatest ever, then you understand there are things that you have to do that you don't want to do. But you're supposed to because dems the breaks, kids. Dems the breaks. This is not, I know there's lots of Laker fans that are hating on LeBron. Lots of Laker fans that are hating on Pelinka. Like, look, man, they built a good team. Marc Gasol was washed up. Dennis Schroeder can't play at that level and couldn't play with LeBron and wasn't bought in. Even with that, they still probably win the series if Anthony Davis is healthy and LeBron's healthy. They weren't. That's what happens. Did LeBron play great? No. He's not the same guy, nor should anybody be the same guy when they've done the same thing for 18 straight years, and they've been pretty damn dominant most of those 18 straight years. Not that big a thing. But, man, can you imagine if the Suns lost yesterday 4-2 and then didn't shake hands, quit with a couple minutes left to go in the game, only to behind the scenes sign jerseys for LeBron James? To whom much is given, more is expected. You're the king. How do you purport yourself in your court? You wouldn't believe how many people. You wouldn't believe, like, one loss. And I told you this yesterday. Does it change LeBron's legacy to me? No. Won a championship last year. He's won a championship with 3 different franchises. He's a great player. But it is fascinating to see how many people have changed. Well, Jordan wouldn't do that. No, but Jordan wouldn't do a lot of the things he did. They're totally different. But maybe this just alerted it to you. And maybe he stayed too long.